past few months I've made a number of reviews on this channel on portable power stations. Whilst they're not the typical device that I talk about, they are absolutely tools that I use on a daily basis, whether that's out charging quads, charging my phones, my cameras, my laptop for making content, or whilst camping with my family, keeping all of the stuff that they want to bring powered up, but also the fridge on as well. Now, all of the power stations I've talked about up until now have all been in the small to medium category, 250 to 500 watt hour. Today, though, I want to talk about one of the big ones, and that is this, the AC180 from Bluetti. Now, this is a portable power station, but the real interesting thing about this one is that it has a huge battery capacity, over 1,000 watt hours, a massive AC capability, allowing you as well to even power things like hair dryers and heaters. Now, in this video, I want to give you a bit of an overview of this power station. I'm going to walk you through its features and capabilities. I'm then going to share with you my experience having spent about a month and a bit with this one. I've taken it in the car, I've taken it camping with the family, and really I just want to give you some thoughts on what I think this is really good for, and then hopefully that'll give you an idea if you should consider buying something like this or not. Now, just to be clear up front, Bluetti did reach out to me and send me this power station to review. They have not, though, paid me to make this video. They have not seen this video before it's been published, and as always, my thoughts are entirely my own. So first of all, we're going to take a look at its spec and main features and walk you around the device itself. Then we'll come back and have a chat about what it's like to use. The AC180 from Bluetti is a high-power portable power station. It features a 36 amp hour, 1152 watt hour LiFePO4 battery that is able to charge up to 80% in as little as 45 minutes. It has all of the I/O you would expect on a portable power station, including 4 USB-A ports capable of going up to 3 amp in pairs, a USB-C port up to 100 watts, a DC output port up to 10 amps, as well as a dual socket true sine wave AC inverter allowing up to 1800 watts as standard or 2700 watts in power lifting mode. There's also a built-in wireless charger on the top allowing up to 15 watts, which means you can charge compatible devices without the need for a cable. It features a built-in display giving you all of the information about the power station status, the input as well as output power. For charging, you have an AC socket directly on the side, which allows you to charge the device up to 80% in as little as 45 minutes or 1.8 hours to fully charged. There's also built-in circuit protector as well as an earth post on the side, allowing you to have it in a permanent installation if you wanted to. On the front, you'll find a DC input that supports 12 to 60 volts. This allows you to charge it either via a vehicle or via solar panels, allowing up to 500 watts of PV input. Looking around the unit, you'll find there's a fan on each side for cooling. We've got on the back the main ratings plate that gives you the specification of the unit, and 2 built-in carry handles on the top that allow you to move the unit around. Now, one of the big benefits of the AC180 is the fact that it does have that large 1152 watt hour battery. That does, though, obviously come with the penalty of weight, and the whole power station comes in at roughly 16 kilos. The AC180 comes with a 5-year warranty, and Bluetti state the expected lifespan of the battery to be in excess of 10 years or 3,500 cycles. A feature I haven't mentioned on this power station yet, which is actually really quite handy, is wireless connectivity. You can download an app from Bluetti that allows you to not only view the status of the power station, but actually control its outputs as well. Now, just to walk you through this, you can see on the home screen, we have the power station current status in the middle, showing us 91% battery. It's currently connected on main, so you can see it is showing that up there. We're drawing about 300 watts, and that is showing that going from the grid into the battery. We then have our DC PV input over here, nothing connected there, so it's grey, and we then have our 2 outputs, our DC and our AC showing over here. As the power station is currently turned off, there is nothing showing as drawing power. At the bottom here, we can actually turn the outputs on and off. So for instance, if I turn on the AC, you will see that will kick in, and then it'll start to show the power draw that you're getting on that port there once whatever you've got connected kicks in. And there you can see we're drawing 170, 200, 260 watts, 300 plus from that port. We can click on the battery information, which tells us the current status of the battery, the percentage and the charge. And you can see here, it tells us the state of the battery pack. So if there was more than one, you'd actually see them listed there if you had linked them up. Going under the main settings here, you'll have all the options for the device itself. So we have the option for user manuals, we have the charging mode. It's currently set to silent, but you can set it to standard or turbo. This dictates how fast the unit will charge, but it will also have an impact on how loud it is as well, because obviously the faster you charge, the more it needs to cool. Then we have the option for power lifting. Now this is what allows the unit to output up to that 2700 watts. I'll talk about that a bit more later on, but this is where you would turn that on. We then have the eco settings. Now this allows us to set the AC and DC shutdown time, as well as the eco power option as well. So for instance, you can set what the minimum power is before it shuts down. And then under advanced settings, we have things like setting the AC output frequency and grid self-adaption. If you click on the little arrow for grid self-adaption, it basically tells you that it can charge even when the unit is receiving abnormal AC voltages. So again, that's ideal if you were someone that was in an off-grid situation. The real nice thing about the app is that it does give you complete control. You can see it's now in the background behind me. And for instance, I can simply control it from here, turn off the AC if I no longer want it, and then everything shuts down. One of the big benefits of this unit is its high output capability in AC. As I've mentioned, it can do up to 1800 watts as standard in pure sine wave mode, but it does have a power lifting mode that allows it to go as high as 2700 watts. Now this power lifting mode is only designed for resistive style loads, things such as hair dryers, heaters, or motor driven devices like this grinder here. It isn't designed for traditional electronics, but it does allow you to get a lot more power from this device. Now, just to demonstrate that, we're going to actually show you it with this grinder. This is capable of drawing about 600 watts as standard. However, it will draw a lot more power on startup. And then we have a 2 kilowatt fan heater here, which we'll try as well. Now, just to turn on the display so you can see what is happening on the front, we're going to power up the grinder first of all. And as you've seen, it was able to kick the grinder in no problem at all. It had plenty of current to be able to get that motor going. And whilst it doesn't draw the most power when it's running, it's that initial startup current that it was able to deliver. If we now test it with this fan heater, you should see on the display, it's able to deliver, again, enough power to drive this. This is a 2 kilowatt fan heater, as I've mentioned. It's beginning to heat up there nicely, and you should be able to see on the front that it is drawing about 1800 watts once it's settled. And again, it's able to deliver that without any problems at all. Now you can probably hear the fans have kicked in on this unit now, so you are obviously going to get more noise from it when you are drawing these kind of levels of power. It is really good that you do have that high power capability if you do need it whilst out and about. Now, just to confirm with this power lifting mode, it's not that you can actually draw 2700 watts from the unit. It will do that peak. However, power lifting simply adjusts the output voltage to keep the devices that you've got attached within the limit of the inverter, i.e. 1700 watts. Now here, I currently have two heaters attached. We've got the fan heater, which is roughly 1800 watts, and there's also an oil radiator attached as well. And if you look at the display, you will see that it has limited it to 1700 watts. The real nice thing about this feature is that you can use devices with a higher power rating and it won't trip it into overcurrent. So for instance, you could use a hairdryer with a 2.4 kilowatt rating, and what it would simply do is adjust the voltage to get that within the spec of the inverter, but it would allow you to use it. On other devices without this feature, it would simply just trip out on overload. Now, as with all products that enter this workshop, the AC180 has been through a whole host of testing. For instance, here you can see we've got it on an oscilloscope. We're checking the AC output to make sure that it is actually a true sine wave, and you can see the result of that there on the screen. I've also checked all of the USB ports are both voltage correct and they are able to supply the load that they specify. And really, as I do with any product, putting it through a battery of tests to ensure that it does what the manufacturer says it does. With regards to this specifically, I could find no issues at all. Overall, everything is exactly as Bluetti say it is. One of the features I mentioned earlier I want to talk a little bit more about is the power pass-through capability. Now, if you don't know what that is, it means the AC180 can act as a UPS. What that is an uninterruptible power supply, so it means you can plug devices into this, power this on the mains, and in the event of a power loss into this, your devices will stay on. Now, it's a real nice additional feature that gives you a second use for a device like this. I've been using it here in the workshop to power my editing PC, power my 3D printers, and it's just a nice handy feature to have because it means when you're not traveling, when you're not using it, you can actually have it as a secondary backup in your house, your workshop, your office. That way you don't have to worry about what may get damaged, what may fail as a result of power loss. It's really handy for things like 3D printers especially, because whilst they do have features for power loss recovery, ideally you don't want to risk a failed print, and powering your printers off one of these is going to ensure that you don't suffer from a failed print as a result of the power going down. Now, just to demonstrate this power pass-through feature, we've currently got two 3D printers in action. They're both connected to the AC180 and we have it on mains input. You can see on the front, it is showing on grid. And the real nice thing, as I mentioned earlier, is you can even see this on the app as well, where it shows you the power coming in, passing through and out via the inverter. Now, my lovely assistant is going to cut the power to the power station. So she's going to pull the plug, and as you can see, everything is still running, the printers are still going, and what this means is you don't have to rely on that built-in protection that many printers have. Both of these do have power loss recovery. However, using the power station like this means that you don't need to worry about that and don't need to wonder if it's actually going to work. Now, before I share with you my thoughts, one last thing I just want to touch on this is with regards to using it as part of your home power solution. Now, this isn't specifically designed to be a home battery storage system. However, with that power pass-through feature, it does give you some interesting options. In the next few weeks on the channel, I'm actually going to be doing a project with this where I'm going to integrate it into the power I use here in the workshop. At the moment, I have about 1.3 kilowatts of solar on the roof, and my intention is actually to power a lot of the equipment that I use on an evening to record these videos from this, and then have this charge from my solar PV panels. And if you're interested in seeing that, please do make sure you are subscribed to the channel. As I've said, it doesn't have any major specific features other than that trip switch built in, as well as that earthing post and the power pass-through. But I do think there's some interesting capabilities here, and we'll explore that in that video. Okay, so to share with you my thoughts on the AC180. Now, I've been using this for about a month and a half, and in that time I've taken it camping for a week. It's been in the back of the car an awful lot whilst I've been using it to charge lipos, laptops, and all the usual electronic devices me and my kids use. And I've also used it here extensively in the workshop to power lights, to power cameras, and even my 3D printers and PC too. Overall, I think it does exactly what it says on the tin. There's about only one thing that I can complain about on this, and that is noise, and I will come on to that a little bit more in a minute. Overall, I think if you're someone who is looking for a portable power station with a high capacity battery, this is going to be worth a look. If you want to go away camping for say a week and not have to worry about charging, or you're someone that wants one for work and wants to be able to use things like drills, grinders, or higher power tools, it's gonna be able to do that for you. Also, it is very handy to have in the house or workshop for just a battery backup, or just being able to power stuff without having to use a cable whilst in the garden. It has many uses, and I think Bluetti have done a really good job here on delivering a product that does exactly what they say on the tin. Now, as regards to downsides, as I mentioned, the one thing I'll mention is noise. It is not the quietest portable power station in the world. And actually, it's not so much about the noise when it's in use, it's the noise when it's just sitting on mains power. Now, just to explain what I mean about this noise thing, the power station has been switched off. You can see it's showing on there, but I did actually turn it off, but it is connected to mains. And what happens is it turns itself back on and actually starts making a noise. Let me just come in closer. You can hear it there. It's not dramatic, but it's noticeable. You get a ramping up of the fans and then this. So what I'm going to do is now just turn it back off. So that's shut it down completely, and then let's wait and see what happens. There we go. It has literally less than 2 minutes later turned itself back on. And there you can hear the fans kicking in. Now, it seems to do this continuously, even though it isn't quite fully charged. You can see there at the moment, it's showing 99%. It seems to just do this by itself, on and off, throughout the day. I'm not exactly sure what is going on there, because it does create a bit of heat whilst doing that as well. You can definitely feel out of the vents and the fans that there is some heat there, but I don't quite understand why you're seeing those fans kick in and out, even when the device is simply sitting on mains. It would be great to be able to just say, sit there and do nothing unless you draw power from it. That way you wouldn't have to worry about it making noise and affecting things like me recording here. When it is in use, obviously the fans kick in and you're going to hear it. I haven't done noise level checks. It's not that it's particularly loud. It's not like a vacuum cleaner, but it is audible, and the noise level, I would say, would equate to something like an oven in a kitchen with a fan. You can just hear it on in the background. Other than that, though, I think it is a really nice piece of kit. And as I've said already, if you're looking for a higher power station, it's definitely worth a look. Now, if you're interested in getting one of these, there will be a link to them in the description. The AC180 is available for $899 in the US or £999 in the UK. This is obviously one of the more expensive portable power stations, but we do have here a unit with a massive battery capacity, lots of features and capabilities, and again, it is certainly a high-end premium model, one you can rely on to keep you going while camping, traveling, or even using it as a battery backup at home or work. Now, if you didn't want one that large, Bluetti do also make smaller power stations as well. We have here the EB55, which is 557 watt hours. I have actually done a review on this on the channel as well. I'll put a link to this in the description if you're interested in getting one. So even if you didn't want to go for something as big as this, Bluetti do have lots of options available. Again, has many of the same features as this one does: wireless charging, USB, solar PV capability. So again, please do consider checking that one out if you want to know more. Now, I'd just like to say a big thank you to Bluetti for sending this one over for us to take a look at. I think it's a good bit of kit. As I said, there's going to be a video coming in the next few weeks where we're going to integrate this into the workshop. It's going to be a device that I'm going to use portably, but also be able to come home, plug in, and then use it to be able to power the stuff that I'm using right now to record this video. And if you're interested in seeing that, please do make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I'm also really interested in hearing your thoughts on this portable power station as well, so please do let me know what you think in the comment section. If you've got any questions, put them in there and I will try and answer them too. One final thing I just want to mention is, if you're interested in supporting the channel, there are links to my Patreon in the description. I want to say a massive thank you to all of my patrons for all of the support, and if you'd like to support us in the future as well, please do consider checking it out. Anyway, that's it from me on this one. Stay safe. I'll speak to you soon.